Finally got a week to start working on the S2000 again. Warmed up a bit, not that much snow. There's still some snow around, but now the sun's out and it's not like freezing cold anymore. So back to this, and going to try to knock out this engine and trans removal this weekend. For those of you who don't know, who haven't seen my last video, the reason why this engine and trans has to come out, the engine sits too low. I think right now it's not lowest part of the car. In order to get the engine to like 0 degrees, it needs to get lower. For that to happen, I need to raise the transmission up higher, but I can't do that because the transmission is getting stuck up on the tunnel, and also the shifter is in the way too. So I need to take this engine and trans out and start getting to work on the tunnel. But before I do that, I need to see how the shifter looks so I know what to cut. So this is where I'm kind of having the problem with, at least with the shifter anyway. As you can see, it is touching. Definitely gonna have to cut up a little bit, but I'm also gonna take a look at where it hits when I'm like going through the gears. Furthest point is from like 3rd and 4th. I go back is kind of touching this corner spot right here. So I'm gonna have to make some room for that. And then going forward, pretty sure that it's gonna be touching as well. And just to make sure, 6th, do some cutting right there because it's kind of coming right off to the side. 2nd, it's kind of touching as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go get my tape, which is somewhere, and start taping up this corner. But I think I can get this light on a little bit from this spot and then this clip spot as well. And this is the only thing I can see just from up top. You know, I know there's some space at the bottom too, which I'm gonna have to take care of. I might have to be hammering out this area as well, and if I have to, that's gonna be good because we have a lot of space in here to start knocking this up. But let me go grab my tape first, one thing at a time. The goal is to raise the transmission up about 2 to 4 inches higher, and that should be enough to get the motor at 0 degrees. Also won't be at the lowest point anymore. Now I need to start taking off the intake manifold and the alternator, get it out the way so I can get the engine and transmission out. Intake manifold's off, which was like the biggest component of the engine besides the engine itself. Next up is the alternator and the oil filler. I'm going to leave the pulley on, which is going to tape it up just so it won't get scratched or anything like that. And then after that, engine should be good to go. I got my other jack stand at home, so I can't put this on all fours. So just the front, which, I mean, that's what I need anyway. Time to take a look underneath. And you know, you actually get to see the work that has been done with the engine mount and the transmission mount. Man, I can't believe I forgot that jack stand. So we're gonna use the bigger jack for the engine since that sits up the highest. Smaller jack for the transmission. So the transmission sitting up like this. So what I'm gonna do is, as I'm bringing the engine down, the transmission is gonna come down at the same time and keep going back and forth until it lands on the ground. Slide it out. This should work. On the ground, engine and transmission is. I made a small mistake. I do need to raise the car up almost to the highest point because I am getting stopped right here, right at the little bump stop, and that's not even the highest point. Like, if everything clears here, we're fine. Now that I'm realizing it, I need my jack to get this higher because my small one isn't going to cut it. Out of the way, and I was kind of right about certain things being in the way. I did not take account of the bell housing. It's just a little bit higher than everything else, and that kind of got stuck, but I was able to move it out the way, and the shifter did have to come off. Now I'm gonna get this set up over on that piece of wood and then lower the car back down. The car down, engine trans is over there. I'm gonna take a break. Hungry, and when I come back, start cracking on the tunnel.
20 minutes later.
All right, break's over. Getting back to work. I got my drill here because I can't fit my angle grinder up here. And I'm gonna work on these 2 points to cut. And I'm also gonna cut where this is bulging at. Pretty sure like this bulge right here is hitting too. So I'm gonna cut from like right here, and then it's probably gonna go down to maybe like right here, go across, and then cut up. You got the cut from underneath right there. And then we have the bolt holes. I'm actually gonna make a better bracket. That was just temporary. Cut from maybe like close to here, all the way over, go down, and go across and cut back up. That should take care of the bottom piece. I don't think my angle grinder can fit underneath here. But we'll find out. Thermal died, but made some work. You can tell by the light outside. I'm almost at the line I was supposed to be at. Once I get the top left part cut out, work at the bottom, start bending that back, cutting our way up and down, get that boxed out, start working on the outer side. Should have cut up enough to actually get this moving. We have, okay, push down. Alright, so this is when I'm gonna start sending sparks up inside the car. So plan is to get to like this point where I was already kind of like just making a line on both sides and then cut all the way back down. Once I kind of get the line, I'm just gonna push up and keep checking every once in a while so I know that I'm getting to the point where I made that first initial line. This side right here kind of went off to the side maybe because of the angle I was at. I'm gonna be careful. Might call it for today and pick it back up tomorrow. I think I've been here a lot longer than I wanted to.
1 week later.
It's been about a week since I last been here. I ended up selling something off the car like mid-cut. I didn't feel like coming all the way back here to keep on working. Ended up working on this the next Saturday, this Saturday. Finally got everything cut off in the trans tunnel. Got this entire part cut. I did leave some space on the sides for the mount. I'm going to send a picture to the shop, see how much material they want for the mount so they can box this out. If they want me to cut lower, I'll cut lower. And I know it looks pretty rough right now. I'm going to take my grinder and also just keep cutting away at this and get all this stuff smoothed out. Try to get it like right off to the side. So all this stuff's gonna get smoothed out, and then I'm gonna test fit the transmission and make sure that nothing is getting in the way. It's a good chance it won't, but I won't find out until I actually get this put back on. So you get to see how the mounting for the engine is, and also for transmission as well. Still using the same engine mounts that I got. They fabbed up brackets for it as well. So now that sits underneath the subframe the exact same way how the original bracket was. And I'm pretty sure like once the engine gets raised up a little bit, instead of this sitting underneath, it's going to sit up top. For the transmission, it looks similar to how the other transmission bracket that I got, instead of having just one bolt hole on one side and then two on the other, two on each side. So now it's more secure mount. And I'm pretty sure this is going to get changed up as well because, like I said, the engine is going to get raised up and the transmission is going to get raised up as well. Transmission is going underneath the car. I was able to get the clearance done the first time around. I don't know if you can see it. I have a lot more space. Not a lot more space, but more space than I did before. The only thing that's stopping me right now is the shifter. Shifter is stuck in the way. Not a big deal. All I got to do is just unbolt and this will come right off. Careful, that stuff almost cut me. Make some more cuts on the side so this can fully clear. This entire section, I want to say overkill. Like this from here to here, overkill. I'm going to make some room, cut here. And then once that's done, I'm going to unbolt the mount from the transmission and try to raise it up as high as I can before the transmission stops itself. My laziness is kicking in, so I'm gonna call it. Got the transmission in. I was going to paint the raw metal. I just sent the pictures off to the shop. Let them know how it looks, and if they want to cut more material off, they do. Makes no sense to paint over it right now if I gotta get it cut. I'm gonna come back next week when it's warmer, grab some paint, just start taking care of it. I'm gonna keep the transmission in there, mainly because I don't want to go back underneath there, and I'm getting pretty cold.